Welcome to RGBA, colorful tech news and reviews. This is episode 47. My name is Alexandre Valliere-Lagacé, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler Minard. So this week, we've got a couple new rumors. Not too many. It's a slow week, but we got let's say, one that is quite interesting and one that is super interesting. The first one, I'll let you go over this one because you put it in the show notes.
So, of course, it's the time. Another iPhone 8 rumor. It's starting to get, all the rumors are starting to funnel into this. All these different theories about the iPhone 8 are starting to come in and starting to they're all starting to, how do you say?
Come to fruition.
No, they're all starting to, all the rumor people are starting to align on one rumored device. I don't know. Okay. We had a bunch of mock-ups and now they're all starting to look the same, I guess.
Yeah, they kind of converge on the same design or principles.
They're all converging by the same rumor.
Don't cross the streams.
Yeah. So, Touch ID in the back with the two cameras in the back, but vertical line instead of how they are right now with the 7 Plus.
Yeah, instead of in landscape and being in portrait.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the two big features. It looks really thin. I think it's like blueprints or something.
Yeah, it's been leaked by Sony Dickinson, who is a famous leaker of such designs, usually every year. And what actually is quite interesting is, first of all, the detailed in first of all, it's a picture of a piece of paper on which you see the back panel of the iPhone 8. So you can see from the top view, from the inside if you want, you can see the Apple, you can see the camera lens, the side button is still there. There seems to be, that's the SIM card. And
SIM tray.
SIM tray. The rest looks the same. Speaker grills in the bottom, a lightning port, mute switch. The rest is pretty clean.
No headphone.
No headphones. Still no headphones. But what really is special about this one is that the paper looked like quite quality. It's not like a drawing or some CAD design from some dude in some plant that could basically just be like a case manufacturer instead of being an Apple provided spec. This one has the quality and the look to be the real thing. And also, there's the title is half cut, so you can see something called VTS HSG overview. And for me, the VT is probably the DVT, which is a design verification test, which is the same stage of development as the iPhone 4 that was lost in a bar. So basically, they have the final design, and they're testing it in real life to see if it sticks and if there's no major problem with it. So this is probably the specs for the DVT of this model. So to me, it looks quite interesting and quite real. So this is kind of the first leak. I can say that I'm pretty confident that is the real thing.
And then there was also another that was going around Twitter yesterday, but apparently it was a fake render. Somebody took this image and all the renders we see there of supposed iPhone 8.
Yeah. So yeah, we're getting close to the final images. Eventually we'll get some parts leak. Probably Unbox Therapy will have the glass and the back panel and stuff like that. And they'll probably do some test on trying to break it or trying to see if the component is glass or sapphire or something. But we're getting very close.
And also the measurements are on the the picture.
Yeah, 72 millimeters by 149.
Yeah, so it's a little bit bigger than the iPhone 7, but it's not quite iPhone 7 Plus.
Okay.
So the rumors about the iPhone 8 being the no bezel and between the two is still true, I guess.
Mm-hmm. The round thing in the back, that's the Touch ID?
Supposedly.
It's a bit low. It seems to be in the middle of the phone. If I take my phone...
Yeah, but your phone is huge.
Yeah, I know, but still.
It's right below in the middle of the phone.
Yeah, but on my phone, it looks to be like way too down on the back. But if I imagine having a 7 in my hand, like you, it's going to be even lower. So you'll need to flex your finger to hit the Touch ID.
I'm part of the Pinky Stand Club. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, me too. I am.
My index finger is right in the middle of the phone when I use it.
Even on your 7, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It just feels to me that this is way too low. Touch the Apple would be weird to say, but on a big phone size, it makes more sense. Like on the Pixel XL, it was perfectly placed. All right, moving on to the second rumor. This time it's not a rumor per se. It's the actual Apple automated system for self-driving cars. They applied for a permit in California, and for such permits to have their the cars or test system on the roads, they need to provide details. So we got many details. First of all, what we know is that the system integrates both hardware and software to monitor surrounding objects and events. So right off the bat, we know that it's a system to drive a car. It's going to be both hardware and software. So it's not just like, let's, add some weird software to the car to make it nicer. It really is for driving. And there are also details on the 7 tests that the system should be able to accomplish and successfully make. Basic maneuvering, like low speed driving, high speed driving. Okay, that's fine. Intervention, tight U-turns, sudden. Let me just zoom on the pictures.
Steering input.
Yeah, sudden steering input, sudden acceleration, sudden braking. So basically, whatever Tesla does right now, conflicting turn signal in action. This is weird. It's kind of like a override, like, I don't know, like it's a very specific situation where the signs say something and the road like gives you like a challenge. So as a human, you take the right decision. Well, the system is supposed to take the same kind of decision. So that will be quite interesting. The funny thing is that one of the pictures says that use Logitech wheel and pedals to actuate drive-by-wire.
Yeah.
So they basically took a car and they replaced like the steering wheel and the pedals with a Logitech video game driving gear. So,
and we don't really see, the picture's a bit black, but is it a right-hand drive car?
You're right. It's on the right side. So it's probably because they couldn't remove the whole gear from the car per se. So they just added. No, it seems to be in the back of the car.
Oh, yes, you're right.
There seems to be a seat. So
and you see there's a steering wheel, so Lexus steering wheel. And then they're sitting behind the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they actually pinned that to the passenger seat to be able to drive from the back, which is
like
quite
the
weird.
headrest of the passenger seat.
So yeah, well, this actually confirms that they are working on something, and that something is not a car per se. It's a whole system. So we still don't know if they're going to make their own car or partner with a manufacturer. My guess is partnering will be the key for that. And like we said in the past, maybe McLaren or some other manufacturer that requires a bit of a push.
Automated driving.
Yeah, on that front. So that's for that. Yeah, interesting.
So you're going to have CarPlay and CarDrive in your car.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the marketing names for all those little things. And on a video game note, talking about the Logitech racing gear, most of you probably saw the NES Classic been released this year and being stock constrained and then being very hard to get or actually like spend 4 times the price on eBay to get a unit. Well, Nintendo killed it this week, so they confirmed that this was just a temporary product, a limited edition. When they saw that it was super popular, they made more stock of it. But now it's basically finished. So no more NES Classic. And there's also like a rumors that a source that actually knows their thing says that the SNES Mini, so the Super Nintendo version of this mini console, will be released for Christmas this year.
It doesn't look like the Super Nintendo I had as a kid. No,
the picture is a Super Famicom. It's the European version. So we had like the square, bulky one with only purple buttons, and this version is the Europe version and Japan version.
Okay. Because that was my first Nintendo console, or my first gaming console as a kid.
Okay, yeah, it was a big, bulky square kind of corners, and then just like near the end of the console, they released a Super NES mini kind of. So it was a smaller size, smaller, smaller size, and also like cheaper to produce. So collectors still get their hands on those often. So let's hope that this one stays on the market for a longer time so that Nintendo can sell many more millions of those, because the NES Classic, I don't know for what reason, but they just decided to pull it. I was hoping that if they were to pull this console, it would be at the same time that the Switch would get the Virtual Console, because right now you still cannot get any Virtual Console game on that new Switch console. So you cannot buy like old classics as you were able to do on the Wii and Wii U.
Didn't they announce that it would be a limited run at the beginning?
Yeah, that's what they always said. But, when something like that gets super popular, the limited kind of goes away, and it's at least there for like a while and insufficient units, because this was a easy sell for Nintendo. People were asking for that for so many decades, and I don't know how many they sold. I don't know how many they produce, but they could have probably like produced like 5 times the amount, and each of them would be sold to this day, and they would probably make, I don't know, like a couple hundred millions out of those, and would have been easily like have a better quarter. And I don't think this would impact the Switch sales, because there's only 30 games on this, and even though you can spend many weekends playing those games, it's not the same experience. And for $70, who's gonna like consider that like this year's console? It's just like a little thing you buy for fun, and you still buy the big console later on.
Maybe the sales numbers were not that good. Maybe it's just a little bubble we're living in.
Well, our little bubble actually
Is big.
is big, because I'm subscribed to that website called Now in Stock, which is basically just alerts you when there's new stock of those consoles. And the last alert I got was on April 11th, and in under 2 minutes, whatever stock they had were sold. And I think out of the last 8 alerts I got from Amazon on this side, only once was I able to see like add to cart button. The other times I got this the alert, it was already all sold out when I got on the site, and it's like in the following minutes. So yes, the bubble is not just us, because everybody is trying to get their hands on those, and like you cannot get any stock at Walmart, the Source, or Amazon for many months. And whenever there's some stock, it's always Amazon who has those, and they sell like in minutes. So, and they're still going for $300 on eBay. So as opposed to the Switch, which was quite fast to go down in price. Of course, there's always people who are selling like the whole collector's kit, like with a bunch of extra controllers, Zelda special edition game, and everything. But like just the console itself, if you could get like $100 on top of the list price, on top of the retail price, you were lucky. And nowadays, I think it's even like closer to the release price. So, but the $70 NES Classic still goes for $300, which is more than 4 times the price of it on retail. So it's still going strong, I think.
Is the Switch available right now? Can I just walk into Best Buy this morning and get one, or
not
have to look
necessarily.
around and find one?
Yeah, you have to look around, but people tend to look around, and then the next day they go and there's still some stock. So it's still low, but it's still there are more units. Also, Nintendo announced that they're going to double the production for this year. They had some forecast, and I don't know what it was. I think it was like in the 6 or 7 million units, and they're going to double the production for 2017. So, because right now, who buys the Switch is people who are super big fan of Zelda, and that's basically it, because there's not many games to play. So it's only like the super hardcore nerd fans like us who goes and buy. Let's say your little cousin who's not necessarily paying for his own console won't get his console yet because there's not enough games. But in April, there's Mario Kart, and sometime in September, I think there's a Mario game. So for Christmas, next Christmas, it's gonna be crazy. That's when they're gonna sell like another 5 or 6 million for sure. And it's gonna be weird if they manage to get their forecast. They're gonna be selling as many as Wii U's in a single year instead of in like 4 or 5. So it's quite more popular than the Wii was.
So back to Apple.
Yep.
They were on a big green push this week, a big marketing, Earth Day and everything.
Today is Earth Day.
Right, today is Earth Day. Are you going to go walk?
Yeah, I got that little notification to do that little 30 minutes activity. So I'll probably, if there's not rain later, I'll take my skates and I'll go around.
Does that count?
Yeah, there's a, well.
Oh, there's not skating,
walking.
But you're going to say walking or running or something?
No, but I think you can, they say like a 30-minute walk or other activity. So
right. Okay. No, it says walk or run.
Oh, yeah.
Well, whatever. We'll see.
I'll say walk.
You'll tell me.
I'll say walk and I'll just take my skates.
Right. Yeah, so they did like they did at Thanksgiving, or I think New Year had one too.
Yep.
New badge, new achievements in the Apple Watch app. So for Earth Day, you have to go outside and walk or run 30 minutes or swim, they say. And then you'll get the special badge and special stickers to send through iMessage. I find like they should do like a bunch of these just for fun, no?
Yeah,
get the not just like twice a year like they're doing now. Like do one every week for every single something special. I don't know.
I don't know. It really could be quite irritating, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, they could do it like more often than that, because like 3 times a year, not enough.
And also, since we saw the pictures of the internal Apple like little badges that they give out and T-shirts, I really, really want one. Like the Rings T-shirt. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that they have internal. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
And the badges that they have in the app, they have them in real little coins. I want that too.
From the screenshot I can say, it says go for a walk, run, cycle, wheelchair, or swim. Workout of 30 minutes or more.
Okay.
So yeah, cycling is there, but not skating is not in there. I can just take my bike also. Who cares?
Okay, so with that, they also released a new iPhone and MacBook recycling program that like everybody has to shred their computers before throwing them away or something like that. Did you read it? I didn't read it.
Not really. Yeah, for it's always particular because shredding like full computers to like a pile of miscellaneous components dust is not the best way to recycle. What Apple does with its own recycling program is that they take apart each devices and separate the components and then recycle those materials. But yeah, can't say I read it, so I cannot say exactly what it's about.
Okay,
let's just say that they usually are okay and great with their recycling program, and I hope that this one is also good, because if it's just shredding like nothing for nothing, it's not going to be doing any good to anyone.
And also they committed to recycle old phones to make new phones. Like the new iPhones would be a certain percentage of recycled devices. Did you see that one too? Yeah,
they try to, instead of always having their suppliers of parts go from new sourced materials, they are doing a program to help their suppliers use recycle materials instead of freshly mined ore and stuff like that. Right. So because they know that eventually there's not going to be any more of those material, and there's also the possibility of some countries restraining the exportation of such ore. So they're trying to get everybody to use recycled parts. Well, no, materials from recycled parts.
And to finish off this big PR push for the environment, Lisa Jackson, VP of Environment, was on the talk show with John Gruber, the talk show podcast.
VP Environment, Policy, and Social Initiatives.
Right.
So yeah, it was a pretty good show. Did you finish it?
Not done yet, but yeah, listening to it.
Yeah, I did. I think half of it at least. And yeah, the lady is super, super cool to listen to. She's super dedicated. She was head of the APA under Obama, so she knows his. And she has great ideas, and like, it's clearly like a person who has her job at heart, but not just because of now she's at Apple, but she always had the environment at heart. By trade, she's an engineer, and she always loved to tackle any problems like any engineer do. And like, for example, she says like chemical engineers who creates new chemicals or whatever, they should also be challenged to do the opposite, which is, okay, now that you created your chemical, how can you take that creation of yours and like recycle, reuse, or like break it down so that it's not damageable for the environment? And that's what she's trying to push. They actually have like a lab at Apple's where they receive the supplier's part, and they actually like CSI on it to exactly find each and every component that's been used for each and every part, and try to guide or understand like how the supplier did it, so that they can go back and say, okay, you used that chemical in that part, but we don't want that chemical in our phone, so use this chemical instead, or like try to build a relationship and try to promote the green side of things to their providers. And last thing for the Earth Day, they released the videos, and there's a little playlist on YouTube where you can see 4 videos of how do you, like, for example, solar farms and yak, how do you produce zero waste. The new Apple Park building will be a breathing building. So the way that the cooling system is made is there's water running into concrete slabs, and those slabs are actually cooled, and then this cool air or whatever temperature is like cycled back into the building, so that when it's not too hot, the whole building is cooled just by itself, and there's no need to run any AC on that. So they say that 75% of the time, it should be able to be like independent of any cooling system.
I didn't see those.
Yeah. Well, further down the episode with Lisa, they actually talk about this.
Okay.
Yeah, the link is in the show note, so you can also look at the show notes and see the little videos. In terms of product release, we got a new product, not from Apple really this time, but more from Nike, which is a new Nike Apple Watch special edition. So it's called the Nike Lab Champions Neutral Tone. So it's a black aluminum like you have with I know that Gruber called it like bone white, but is it like, yeah?
That's the name of the bracelet.
Okay, so it's a bone white, so it's a like off-white kind of white with an almost black holes, those little holes that are like used to, well, they're always on the Nike bands. Yeah, that's basically just a watch Series 2 with a special bracelet. There's nothing other, right?
No, it's just a special bracelet, and like the color combo of selling a black iPhone with the white bracelet.
Yeah.
But the bracelet is black inside instead of being white inside, like the bone white we have right now in the App Store.
Okay. And there's only one thing that bugs me with this.
I know what you're going to say.
And seriously, I don't know why they haven't done it. The pin that holds the bracelet.
I knew it.
The watch is black aluminum and space gray aluminum, whatever. But the pin is like silver. Why?
And when you buy a space gray watch that comes with the black band, the little pin is black.
Yeah.
And you can even buy it separately in the App Store now.
Yeah.
At the Apple Store, I mean.
Yeah. And if you buy other sports band, it's gray, right? You cannot choose.
If you buy, you can for certain bands.
For certain bands, right? Yeah, because there's there's a whole market of third-party bands who are actually very close to the nylon bands or very close to the link bracelets. And what they have special is that they adapt the
lugs
to the color of your watch. So, for example, if you have the pink watch, you don't want to have like a silver lug. So they sell either lugs or full kits of bracelets for like $10 or $15, whatever. But you can choose when you go on their website, you can choose the color of the band, but also the color of the lugs and the size of the band. So it's just perfect. So you can get like everything very, very customized for your own color.
But see, if you want to buy a black sports band right now, you can choose the black one or the black with black pin.
Okay, that's nice.
But I think it's only for the black one.
Yeah, it's not for everything, so that sucks. And in this case, in this special Nike Lab case, they make the damn kit, like, make it black all the way. I don't understand. I know there's some writings on one of those pictures. Let me just get the big size image and try to zoom. Yeah, it says innovation, innovators, Nike Labs on the pin itself on the inside. And there's also like a little Apple Watch and Nike Plus.
Okay,
Yeah,
I made a mistake. The bone white is the new one. The one we have in the store right now is pure platinum white.
Pure platinum white. So it's whiter than this bone white.
It's pure platinum / white. So it's like the gray-ish color and then the white.
Okay.
But I remember hearing bone white somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it's the first time I've seen this. I heard this bone white thing. Kind of creepy. There's another release this week, which was not a product per se. We've been taking live photos with our phones for a couple of years. Well, 2 years. And Apple released a JavaScript toolkit. So you can install on your website. When you point to a live photo, the live photo actually has a little play button. So when you click it, you can actually see the live photo on the web. So they were part of solutions in the past, different little scripts you can have to extract the MOV file. And when you're displaying the JPEG and you click it, you would get the MOV file to play on top. So there were little hacks like that. But this one, you can use the photo itself. Don't do any modification to it. Just export it like as original in Photos or whatever. And then you just use this photo into that little code and it should display properly. I tried to implement it on HipsterPixel and it did not work quite well. The reason being is, first of all, this photo is being loaded via JavaScript and it's not loaded in the page itself. So I'm using a CDN with Rackspace to host all my photos. And since it's not the same domain, it cannot get the photo from that domain for some reason. So I had to revert to a proxy and load the photo from a proxy that I installed locally so that the URL would be hipsterpixel.co. And with that, it's probably because it's a proxy and there's something I'm missing. But basically, it crashes the Chrome tab and it beach balls Safari. So not up to par for proxy stuff. So I would basically need to host the file locally on our website and from there load the file instead of having it served by a CDN.
Yeah, it wants it directly on the server.
Yeah.
But that's kind of sucky. We don't do that anymore.
Well, because it's loaded in JavaScript and with an AJAX call, it cannot be like on another domain for security reasons. And yeah, so there's always ways around that, but it's a bunch of little hacks here and there. So the easiest solution would be like for me to create like a live photo folder and serve those locally from the website instead of through the CDN. Perhaps I could do it like with the CDN, but like being pulled from the site instead of being hosted directly on the CDN. So I would still need to temper with that. So, following the Mac Pro discussion we had in the past couple of weeks with the journalist being invited to Apple to discuss the future of the Mac Pro, there's a couple of posts that were posted like recently. The first one is some guy who is called Danielle Pascoe, which is basically, I think, a video editor of some sort. Basically, he had a 5K iMac. Pretty nice machine. He was happy at all. But then when the announcement of the Mac Pro was done, he figured that it's so far ahead that there must be something that he can do right now. Instead of forking, I don't know, let's say like a $5,000 in 2 years. What about $5,000 today? What can I get for a specific amount of money or whatever? So as any geek does, he went onto eBay and he got a 2009 Mac Pro, which is the cheese grater one, the big tower, for $1,300. And then he added two things, a video card and an SSD drive. So what he ended up with is basically a 12-core Intel Xeon at 3.3 gigahertz. So 12-core CPUs. I think it's 2 6-cores, if I'm not wrong. 32 gigs of RAM, which is enough. 1 terabyte SSD. And an NVIDIA 1080 Ti graphic cards. I think that's one of the recent Pascal cards that were released, that had a driver release from NVIDIA last week.
Yeah, it's the new latest greatest.
Yeah, so that's probably why he did it. Because of this single graphic card, it's like 10 times more powerful than the one that came with the highest end Mac Pro in 2009 or 12. So basically all this put together, and he also installed Boot Camp so he can boot in Windows. And for VR gaming using the HTC Vive, he basically has a little progress bar which says that your computer is either not ready, capable, or ready. His little indicator is at the far right. So it's like the highest of the highest where he can be. So everything like running at a very high quality, has zero problem, 0 frame rate, 90 frames per second. So it's like a monster. Basically, he can run like Fallout 4 in ultra mode without a hinge. The only thing that he's missing is continuity, because I guess it's the Wi-Fi card that's not up to date, or maybe it's just a decision of Apple not to release this for older machines. But basically, that's the only thing that he's missing.
The big holdback when you do a Hackintosh usually is iMessage.
Yeah, but that's not a Hackintosh. That's a Mac.
Right, so he has it.
Yeah, so he has most of everything. The only thing that's not available is like features that were added like in Sierra or previous version that were not enabled for older hardware, meaning probably like chipset or network cards or Wi-Fi cards. So that's probably why. So yeah, this like kind of took me down a rabbit hole where I kind of did the same thing as him, looked at different models on eBay, and realized that you can get like a basic tower for $500 basically. And then there are companies who are actually selling, I don't know if you ever opened like a cheese grater case, but at the bottom you can slide out a little door where you have the RAM and the CPU installed. So that little drawer, if you want, is being sold by people on eBay with different configurations. So you can have like 2 6-cores and 16, 32, 64 gigs of RAM, all pre-installed and tested. So when you buy this online, you get your big tower, you get that little drawer in a separate purchase, and you just slide it in, and that's it. Your Mac is now maxed out. So the only thing you need to add is SSD, like he did, and a graphic card. So yeah, pretty impressive.
When I built my Hackintosh, I looked into buying. People use the cheese grater case, and you can like Dremel out everything or almost, and then you buy this. It's like a motherboard adapter if you want or something, and you have to like solder it back onto the case, so you can attach your custom motherboard to it, and then build your Hackintosh inside the Mac Pro. That would be pretty cool, but it was an expensive project and it was pretty complicated for what I wanted. Yeah.
It looks cool, but like it's not even sure that you're going to get it to work perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah. Of course, this is all fun and nice for him, but he basically like spent I don't know how much money. I looked at the price. He says $1,300 for the Mac. I guess that's probably the case, and the slide-in CPU in like a single bundle. Then the SSD is about $1,100, and the video card, he doesn't say how many gigs of memory it has. So the basic 1080 Ti graphic cards are about $1,000. So we're talking about a like $3,500 of investment. He already had an Acer display and a old cinema display from Apple. So yeah, so if you go the same way that he did, you're basically looking at a 4,000, almost 5,000 Canadian dollars investment on a like 5 to 7 years old computer. But yeah, for whatever he does, it's quite interesting. It really, I really wish I had that money to spend just for fun, because there's no risk because it's a macOS install. Like, it's not like if it's a Hackintosh and you can break something or some update breaks something or whatever, or there's like no iMessage. And also with Windows 10, you can do gaming and VR and everything. So, but yeah, it's a $5,000 of investment like that. The other post that I added to the show note is a software developer's view of what a MacBook Pro would be. This time it's from Carpe Aqua, which is Justin Williams, who wrote the post. He basically lists from the transcript of the little chat Apple had with the journalist that the Mac Pro is for video editors, music creators, graphic designers, scientists, engineers, and architects, and developers. And he's a developer. So he says, okay, from a developer's perspective, here's what I want. CPU, GPU-wise, and everything. So it makes a lot of good points, and it really works for a developer, is a suggestion. But you also have to take into account that this is only one of the 6 roles of pro users. So that's why it's interesting, but it's probably not the best kind of setup, because it also has to be like more flexible than just here's for me what I want for my job. It's for everyone. And that's where Marco Arment, a famous developer of Overcast and other great apps, he says that for the new Mac Pro, the audacity to say yes in a design culture of no. We've always heard Apple being a big proponent of the no whenever you're asking to add features or stuff to a project or device or software. And being able to say no is often very harder than just say yes. But in this specific case, they should have the audacity of saying yes to flexibility, versatility for that big Mac Pro, so that it works in 2017/2018. But also, this same design could also work in 2020, 2022, 2025. Like, make something that you don't need to redesign every 3 years. Like, the design is like timeless, and the flexibility is there so that Apple or customers can upgrade whenever they need. Whenever there's a new component that comes out, it always will fit, and there will be no thermal problem. There will not be any space constraints. So everything will fit perfectly.
So talking about Marco Arment, he released an update to Overcast this week that included like a really cool feature, I find. It's audio playback of podcasts on the Apple Watch. So the way it works is in Overcast now, there's a new, instead of adding to queue, you can say send to Apple Watch or send to watch.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the download section and it just says transferring. It doesn't say a number. It doesn't say anything. So you're just waiting. He talked about it on ATP, I think, or maybe on Twitter, that Apple doesn't provide, like the API to send stuff to the watch doesn't provide like a progress. So you don't know, and nobody really knows how long it takes, but just you wait and suddenly it appears in your Overcast Apple Watch app. And then you can plug your Bluetooth headphones and watch it from your watch. Not watch it, listen it from your watch.
Yeah, I tried it yesterday night and it works. I never paired my headphones to my watch.
No, me neither. It's the first time.
Yeah, I'm usually like a Apple Music or Spotify listener, so I don't like download music anymore. So I said, oh, that's a perfect scenario, and I'm going to try it. So I did exactly that, what you said. But I didn't look at the download progress, so I just did it, and I was preparing supper. So I left it like that, and then when I was done with serving supper, I said, okay, I'll have a few minutes, let's try something. So I took my watch, took my headphones, paired them, took a second, it was paired. Then I went to I swiped to the right screen on the Apple Watch Overcast app, and from there I just tapped the episode and it started to play. So there's some quirks though. It's not perfect. Like from the headset, I was not able to change the volume. Like, no, sorry, from the wheel. I tried to turn the wheel to increase the volume. That didn't work. And I tried to increase it from my headset, and it worked. But I had to like click so many times just to get the volume to a proper level. It's like if instead of the usual, like you have on macOS, like you have like ticks. So we have like 16 ticks from 0 to 100. It's like if we had like, I don't know, like 40 ticks for the watch. So you have to like click like 20 times just to get halfway. So that was weird. But it's not Overcast's fault. It's the implementation of the Bluetooth headset.
Yeah, he said also on Twitter that he can't adjust the volume using the digital crown. It's not available.
Yeah, it's not a developer's API for that. It's only internal from Apple. So I would need to go to the Now Playing app and then scroll.
And also, like the key features of Overcast is Smart Speed and Voice Boost. So if you have them activated for the specific show you're sending over, he smart speeds the whole show before sending it over to your watch.
Oh, yeah. Smart. What a smart guy, man. I totally did not think about that because, it's on the watch, it's not on the phone, so it cannot do smart speed.
Right, it can't, because smart speed, what it does is when you take a pause between words or whatever, it like cuts that, but in a natural feeling way that you don't really notice it.
Yeah.
Just to make your shows faster so you can listen to more podcasts. But it's all computed on the fly on the phone, but it can't be computed on the fly on the watch. So it's the episode is like transcoded if you want, and then sent over.
Yeah.
And playback is not shared, but synced between the watch, so you can start listening on your phone, then switch over to the watch, and vice versa.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty nicely implemented.
I guess it's good for people that, if I don't run, but when I do, I don't run with my phone. I just run with the watch, so I could just transfer over a show and listen to it while I run instead of carrying the phone if I want to listen to podcasts and all that.
Yeah, or you do like my friend at work and you run with your phone and you drop it and you explode his screen. So
no, that's why I don't run with my phone.
Yeah. All right, and another app, many apps, GarageBand, iWork Suite, everything is now free on the Mac App Store. You were surprised and you thought that it was already free.
Right.
And but it's a weird situation because if you buy a brand new Mac right now from the store and you open the Mac App Store, you're provided with like download links for the iWork Suite and iMovie and GarageBand. You can just install and it's free. But if you had like an old Mac, let's say from, I don't know, like 2010 or something, and you go to the App Store, each of these apps are $15 in Canada and $10 in the US. So you had to purchase those. And right now it's done. It's $0. So Apple's streamlining its apps.
Yeah, I thought they were free because I guess I bought a new computer sometime, or even a new phone. They come with a new phone, no?
I think on iOS they're free. They were already free for a while.
Okay.
But not on macOS for some reason.
Okay, I never realized.
And let's talk about something nice. We have a new podcast, not us, but Federico Vitici and John Voorhees from AppStories. They basically had a project in the works for many, many years. I think Federico said he bought the domain in 2010. So just to give you a rough idea of since when he had this idea. AppStories is known for his long form reviews made by Federico of iOS major releases. But also they do mostly app reviews and app news related or developer or oriented like that. So very nice stuff. And the new podcast is called AppStories. So it's basically Federico and John talk about the apps that makes a difference in their lives. And they highlight whatever new features they release or new ideas they have. So they released a first episode, which is about 30 minutes. So it's quickly listened to. And very interesting. They go over a bunch of apps like Overcast, even Instapaper, what it did when it came out for them. And yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So looking forward to all the new episodes. And you can subscribe as usual on the different apps of your choice.
And I think they're going to start to do interviews also.
I think so. I think they mentioned that somewhere, and also, So for that, and also, if you're wondering, you can also advertise on the podcast, but there's like a two tier kind of advertisement. There's a basic and a plus. So if let's say you're an indie app developer and you don't have the same budget as Disney, for example, well, you don't need to get the plus. Spot, you can just get the basic one, which will be cheaper for indie developers. So that's also something different that they're doing just for this podcast.
I hope they interview like indie developers, because I really like the show Mike Hurley did there. It was a while back, I think a year or two back. It's like this special series he did. I forget the name. I'm trying to find it while I talk.
Yeah.
It was like AppStory-ish.
No,
it was like 12 shows. No?
Yeah, I know. Super high production value and everything.
Yeah, it was really good.
Jeez, yeah. You don't have it?
It was Inquisitive, the podcast?
Yeah, Inquisitive, yeah, that's it. You got it from the retired section of... Inquisitive.
No, I got it from my head.
Well...
What was the name of the mini-series?
Yeah, because it was like the last couple episodes were like favorite albums, but you have to go back a while. Behind the App, that's it.
Exactly.
It's 11-part series. 11. Okay. So from 27 to 37. That's 10. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, yeah, so it's February 2015.
Yeah.
But it's really relevant. Not relevant, sorry. It's not timeless. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, it's timeless. It's because most of these apps are still there, and
right.
He goes over like the 30% cut and what it makes for a developer, the app review process, like Apple being the gatekeeper of its different stores, ideas, the night before launch, the launch day, like everything is super nice.
And doesn't he have like a bunch of guests on the show?
Yeah. Well, it's an
all
interview
through the series.
based.
He interviews a bunch of people.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So like for a single episode, there's not one guest. There's like many guests. So
right. I think he done a bunch of interviews before launching the show, and then he takes little bits of each interview to fit into his shows to whatever topic he's talking about.
Exactly. So it's very similar to what you see on all those very high production value podcasts, like Serial and stuff like that. So it's very like there's like a good flow, and it's very streamlined, very professional. There's music, there's him like presenting somebody, then you have the sound clip of this person talking, and then he adds on, and very, very well done.
I just added them to Overcast. I'm going to try them again. Listen to them again.
It's a good thing. So on the other news, there's one funny app that was released this week. Oftentimes you see either like April Fool jokes or just plain stupid, like funny jokes by our favorite porn websites. So this time it's called triptychs, and it's made by Pornhub, I think. Basically, it's they're just like trying to tackle the problem where, let's say you're somebody who posts selfies on Instagram, and then there's part of your private parts that are being shown. And because of that, people report you, and you can eventually get your account blocked or closed, basically. And they said this is a big problem and that we need to address this. So what they do is that they basically offer you this little app. You take a pic, and then you choose whatever little thing to hide your private parts on the photo, and then they use AI and stuff to make it into like a little short video, so that this little thing you add to your photo is animated. So it's original. It's fun. I don't think it's gonna last very long because it's just like a little joke kind of thing. So, but it was very interesting. The only downside I would say is that it's large. It's in 959 megs download.
Whoa.
Yeah, because it's
like
all
bigger than iMovie.
Yeah, because it's all little movie clips for those little things in high res, so that you can add them to your photos, and the animated. So yeah, there's like 15 filters also, and a bunch of little things to add. So it's funny. It's just a little joke app kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about the size of apps this week or last week, I forget.
Yeah.
And I don't know if did we talk about the Facebook app being like a
Not yet, but
huge?
I had the exact same realization that other podcaster had. For some
Right.
reason, I triggered my phone to be to disable Wi-Fi, and I was on the App Store doing my updates as I usually do. And when I hit the one for Facebook, it said that it's over 100 meg. I'm like, what? And yeah, I had Facebook and Messenger. They were both like, I don't know, what's like 300 and something.
I don't have it on my phone.
It's crazy amount.
There was an article too with the somebody took the whole app and then how do you call it?
Like open the app package.
Open the bundle. Yeah, open the package, open the bundle, and then saw the size of everything there, of every framework and everything, and then he has a nice little graphic that shows the size of everything compared to, and he takes two versions to compare. He takes like 66 and then 86 or something.
Yeah,
and
the oldest you can get from the store, I guess.
Yeah, and then he sees like the difference, but what's been added, how it changed and everything, and it's so many duplicates are there, like duplicate frameworks and function names like do not use this or you'll be fired or something like that. I'll find the article and put it in the show notes. It's really interesting.
So yeah, Facebook version 89 was 358 megs, and Messenger version 114.0 was 256 meg. So right there, you got like 600 megs in 2 downloads.
But look, I'm looking at like LinkedIn is 262 megs.
Yeah, version 9.1.26.
Dropbox 166. Snapchat 177.
And then you move on to indie developers. Tweetbot 4, 11 megs. Overcast, 19 megs.
Yeah, I know.
And it's 19 megs because there's a custom font. Before that custom font, it was like only 9 megs.
Yeah, so the apps are getting bloated, really, really, really bloated.
Yeah, but it it's all those frameworks that you add, and then let's say you want to have like, I don't know,
analytics.
Yeah, like Lookalytics. That was one I was using a couple of years back, and it was providing you like a little framework that you didn't have the source code for, and that was adding like 10 megs right there. But I'm guessing that nowadays those analytics frameworks are probably a lot more intensive in terms of features. And some of them even provide you the way to do like A/B testing. So I'm guessing you can code like separate classes so that if you're on the A or B test, you have certain classes that are going to be loaded. So your app itself is doubling in size because you have features that are A/B tested, and you have also frameworks who have a lot of functionality to allow you for that. And then you have, like any company in marketing, you have these guys who want mixed panel, these guys who want analytical analytics, these guys who want something else and something else and something else. But what happens is, at the end of the day, in production, if you ever allow those marketers to use your CMS or whatever platform to add what they need, you end up with like 20 different packages that are running on their website just to see what's happening in terms of acquisition and sales and everything. And it's this very same thing that happens to apps right now. So every tap you make on your app is being recorded and is being analyzed and is being crunched so that somebody in marketing can say that, okay, since we added this feature, people go over here more. So let's put more stuff here. Let's change this over here. So, and that ends up with like I said, like maybe 10 different packages of 15 megs, 20 megs, 30 megs. So what happens is that you reach 200 megs and there's still 0 line of code from your own application in that total. So.
Yeah, and I think Instagram is famous for doing this too. They ship the features, but they don't activate it for everybody. And then they activate it just for like little parts of the user base.
Yeah, gradual rollout.
Yeah, so that's all stuff that's you have to download. Everybody downloads it. It's just not activated for everybody. So that's just a huge part of the app also, because you're shipping like 2 apps in one if you want, because you have two separate features or code paths or two different styles and everything. So everything has to be duplicated.
Yeah, and also add all the effects that you're adding. So all those things are not necessarily just like computer formulas. It's often frameworks with a bunch of assets. So what Snapchat does with its all 3D filters and everything, so that also adds on top of whatever the app allows you to do. So yep, it's pretty intense right now. So we are far from the days where we had like 5 updates to do that are all below like 5 megs. And
so I added to the show notes the article about the analysis of the Facebook app bundle.
So yeah, from the link that you put in the show notes, we see that the main binary, which is basically the Facebook code, is only 19 megs. And then there's one huge framework, which is called FB Shared Framework, which makes 136 megs, which is probably what they share like between Messenger, Facebook, and Instagram. And then there's another called 26 megabyte framework called Not on Startup Path Framework.
Yeah, but the graphic you're referring to is for version 66. But if you scroll down, you'll see this is 86 or 88 or something. So it's you see the progress or the changes they made. I mean,
to not use, you'll be fired. Wow.
Now the binary is 104 megs.
Wow. This is crazy. All right. That's it for this week. So this was RGBA number 47. You can find the show notes at rgba.fm/47. You can find the show on Twitter at _RGBAfm. And I'm Vallier, VALLIERES on Twitter.
And I'm Tyler Menard, TYLERMENARD.
Have a nice week.
Have a nice week.